into positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
What about Biden? Indeed.
Like, what about Kevin, but about Joe Biden?
I was thinking that movie, What About Bob?
What about... Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. We need to talk about Kevin, but I said, what about Kevin, which is a different movie.
Do you ever think about what a rich tapestry the English language is, that you can just jump from one world to the next?
It's rich. Some might call it scrumtrulescent.
What? Did you just
Very
say,
few, but some.
You just say a magic word? The fuck was that?
It's I'm just showing off the richness of our shared tongue.
Anders
Okay.
was on one science show, and he
Right.
thinks he's so smart now. He's just making up words, and he's like,
no,
"They're
I
not
don't. I
gonna
don't think I
know."
even made that up. I think that's also a movie. I'm 2
I
for
don't
2
think it's a
on
movie.
bad references. Scrumtrulescent. That's from a movie.
Fans of Scrum True
check.
Lesson, right in.
Okay.
tell us your Scrum True
Is that from
opinions.
Anchorman?
I should cut
I would
all this
know.
out, but
I would know.
Scrumtrulescent.
I think I got the levels where they need to be. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pod. I almost looked at my notes and said Pod Save America. Welcome to Pods.
Well, I got an announcement.
The first thing I want to talk about today on my notes here. Welcome to Pod Save It. Why the fuck not? Crooked Medea. Welcome to Pod Damn America.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goth socialist podcast for the stupid children.
Also a part of the Crooked Media Empire.
Yeah. Fuck it. I've been doing
Sure.
this thing with the Moon Tower Comedy Festival for the last 3 years where I just, they're never going to book me. So I just started advertising that I'm on their festival. And they have no choice but to eventually either book me or just be annoyed with me.
No choice but to be annoyed.
And I'm Joe Rogan.
We'll just do that. We'll do that with Crooked Media. We'll just say, from the Crooked Media Network, Pod
Yes.
Damn America,
Pod
the
Damn
sister
America.
podcast to Pod Save America.
See, they think they're protected by laws, but where are they now when they're in this online street fight with some real rough and tumble boys?
Yeah, we're also Street Fight. This is Street Fight.
I bet we
And
could
you're lucky
convince
'cause I'm Joe Rogan. I'm very strong.
with Joe Rogan.
I bet we could convince people that Pod Damn America is just like the same. It's like Pod Save America After Dark. Like they're all wearing
Yeah.
like
It's
like,
not Save America, but they curse more
Yeah.
than before.
and they look
Yeah.
like they're the cast of American Idiot the musical. They're like-
they have like the Billy Joe Armstrong like eyeliner.
Yeah.
Their hair is gelled straight up.
okay.
And they already curse, so they're just like, "Fuck you! Welcome to fucking Pod Save, you bitch."
They do curse. But every time they curse, you can tell like they're like, we're being bad.
Yeah.
It's lame adult cursing. Like it's the type of
Yes.
cursing where when you type it
They
on
don't know
Twitter,
how to do it when they bust, like us.
they seem like the types of guys that like when they tweet curse words, they put asterisks and shit in them.
Yeah,
Like
so that you can't, so the curses can't name search themselves.
so fuck can't find you.
Oh, the fuck account.
Obama
name searcher.
didn't really curse, did he? And
Joe Biden
no, Obama.
Oh,
Biden
Obama.
curses a lot, as does Bernie.
to prove he's
somewhat.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Obama, I don't think he could get away with cursing.
He seems like the type of guy who saves it for like once a year to scare his kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Kids are going to come up to you on the playground and say, fuck.
oh my God, he said it. You know, he's really pissed off now because he never curses.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
By
Clean this shit up.
By the way, speaking of
getting
words, speaking of words, I have confirmation. Scrumtrulescent, which I used earlier before we started recording.
I'm gonna need to see that.
It's from I didn't know where it came in my head from, but it's from SNL from James Lipton, Will Ferrell's James Lipton impression.
Oh, okay. That's why you thought it was Anchorman.
But it's
yeah.
a made-up word.
But it
It's
is not a
made
real
up word
word, and
by-
I am
by Will
vindicated
Ferrell.
in that way.
Hachi Juhachi. I think about that Japanese made-up word all the time. It's from sketch when Chris Farley goes on a Japanese torture game show.
Yeah.
They keep saying Hachi Juhachi.
Hachi Juhachi would be 818.
Is that? Oh, I forgot you're a weeb.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm slowly learning numbers.
Cool. Can you intro the podcast in Japanese?
No, not yet. Give me 6 months.
All right. That's going to fucking rule. We'll make anime music for
We're going
it.
to make so much money off our incredible Japanese dirtbag left podcast.
5 minutes of the podcast. We should probably introduce ourselves. I'm Jake Flores. Anders Lee is here
Anders Lee here.
in the flesh.
Just
this
like
time.
old times.
Yep.
In the dark
Boys are
in my
back in
apartment.
town.
And Alex Patak.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm just playing.
Oh, right. Oh, and Barack Obama's here.
Hey.
Oh, there's two of them.
Hey!
Barack.
It is I! The 43rd president! 44th! Hoo-hoo.
Forgot which one you were.
Ooh, Barack is feeling forgetful. A bit in his potions, he is.
The plural of Barack Obama is Barack's Obama.
Yep. Obama on the Baracks.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the news, shall we? We're tackling current events this episode.
I need to start here because it's a pretty big announcement for our audience. If any of our people aren't on Twitter, maybe didn't see that this happened.
Right. If you're standing, you might want to find a seat.
Might want to sit. I'm Barack Obama, and you might want to sit the fuck down for this. I like casual cursing Barack Obama. It
I
goes
like
against
just
this
doing
thing.
anyone's voice and saying it's Barack Obama.
Yeah, that wasn't an Obama
I
impression.
mean, it's only a matter of time before he does one of these podcasts or goes on like Democracy Now! Or something to defend his legacy against the puritanical left. It's the purity politics left. I feel like he's going to do it. He's going to go on,
He's got a calendar
Yeah.
counting down the days to the
Yeah,
confrontation.
well, it comes out with his memoir. And
Yep.
he's probably going to promote it
Yep.
and get skewered. by-
Songs of my goddamn fucking father. the memoir from New Barack.
Okay.
He's mean now.
Yeah, he's mean. He's old and mean.
Okay, so important announcement. It finally happened. We finally made contact with our father podcast, Pod Save America, in that I was bored on Twitter the other day. I was very hungover from my birthday.
Happy birthday, Jake.
Haha,
I know I was there at the time.
you can
Also now.
oh, man, you guys can keep saying it to me forever. I'll take it.
I can't wait for your birthday next year.
Me neither. Okay, so was laying in bed and reading Twitter. I'm like watching fucking Futurama or something. I see this guy John Lovett. John Lovett is the fun one.
Not to be confused with John Lovitz, which you always want to think, but it's never him.
It's so confusing because the show's John Favreau and then John Lovitz.
No relation.
Yeah, and you're like, is it John Favreau and John Lovitz? No, it's
Why
two.
is the critic getting Beto to run?
Yeah,
I remember you from Rat Race.
yeah.
Love it is, I
You know,
think,
I should have tweeted at him. It stinks.
Yep. Oh, that would have been so good. Too bad we just thought of it just now.
I know. What if I just do it right now? I'll know.
You could do it now. But anyway, finish explaining the story.
Here's what happened. He tweeted this thing. I think it sucks. He said, "Here's a pledge we should probably all be taking in our little hearts and even in tweets, as the odds are most of us will vote for a candidate who isn't the nominee." I don't really understand what that means. Vote for a candidate who isn't the nominee.
He's preparing his base to lose to Bernie Sanders is what's happening.
Right, but that means that Bernie will be the nominee. I don't know.
Good.
Right, but most of his base
Wait,
won't vote for him.
Is he, also, he's admitting that centrists have little hearts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little hearts.
He
like the
admitted.
Grinch. The Grinch loves Pod Save America. That's all he gets up there in that mountain.
Here it is. Here's a pledge we should all probably be taking in our little hearts and even in tweets. As the odds are, most of us will vote for a candidate who isn't the nominee. Here's the pledge.
Oh, in the primary. Okay.
We can't.
Yes.
Here's the pledge he's saying. Whatever I would do to help the candidate who inspires me the most, that's what I'll do no matter what. So he's saying we should all, like, every morning, and just stop fighting online and, stop being so divisive and go, whatever I would do to help the candidate who inspires me the most, that's what I'll do no matter what. And I was reading this and I was like, man, I fucking hate the way these guys think about just politics in general, because the idea being that like you're presented with this catalog of politicians that are all running for president, and then like you pick the one that inspires you the most.
Right.
That is not how I think about politics. That's not how fucking normal people think about them.
Yeah.
Most of us don't give a shit about these fucking people and
It's
are
like
just
how
like
you pick like a spirit stone or something.
A character in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I always pick the character in Mortal Kombat who inspires me the most.
I'm inspired the most by Kano and his incredible laser eye.
It's an eye that sees through justice.
Yeah. But, so I was thinking about this and I fucking quote tweeted him because he's not like, he doesn't know me. Like, he's an abstract, famous person to me. It's like, oh, bitch, I'm inspired by the films of Michel Gondry. I am voting for Bernie Sanders because I'm trying not to get killed by private health insurance companies. Point I'm trying to make is that, like, politicians don't inspire me. I think that sucks. I think that's lame. And I think that's, like, these guys' whole fucking vibe is, like, just fucking just loving Beto and shit.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, normal people are not, like, inspired by the 12 nerds that are all trying to, like, become our manager. You know what I mean?
They think politics is Mortal Kombat, except in the ways it is, where you have to finish them.
Yeah. It's Mortal Kombat in all the bad ways. So, but I forget
Cory
sometimes.
Booker falling into a fan. All right, keep on going.
I have a blue check mark,
He
so
knows judo, doesn't he?
when I Cory Booker? No, we can't get. Hold on.
Okay,
So we get to the end of this. So you forget sometimes that I have a blue check mark, and that like when I tweet something at a fucking famous person, they will look at their phone and
The
get
algorithm.
annoyed, and they see it. Well, like if certain people have like when you get a blue check mark. By the way, there's a little peek behind the
check mark?
the dashboard here.
The golden keyboard.
There's like options to like only talk to other verified people and shit, or like only show you notifications from them and stuff. So
Is
there's
there a
lot of-
dating service?
Yeah, I know. I am allowed to use that Hollywood dating app that like only celebrities are on.
Yeah. You're on it.
One of my friends is on it. Like she got like led into it and just lurks because she don't get kicked off. And she showed me she matched with Matthew Perry.
Oh, wow! Time has been so cruel to him.
Yeah, his page it auto plays like Fleet Foxes and shit when you're like looking at pictures of him.
Wow.
Okay, so I wasn't thinking about this much. I called him a bitch, and I made fun of his weird inspired thing where he's he's standing politicians and shit. Then, like, out of nowhere, John Lovett fucking quote tweets me back, and he goes,
Right.
and I get that, which, okay, sure, starting off diplomatically. Some people want to be inspired. Some people understand inspiration as a valuable tool for motivating others, but claim to want it for yourself. For your own motivation, this is like the fifth comma in this sentence, is to admit you both know and need to be reminded of the stakes. Thanks, bitch. So he
I
called
like that he called you a bitch at the end. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
He is
He's
the
the
one
good
who
one.
has an ounce of talent. He actually is quite talented, and none of
Yeah.
them.
I loved him in Rat Race.
I'm gonna read.
High School High is great also.
I'm gonna read this sentence again though because it's been over 24 hours. I've read it 100 times. I have no idea what the fuck he's saying. Some people understand inspiration as a valuable tool for motivating others, but claim to want it for yourself. For your own motivation is to admit you both know and need to be reminded of the stakes.
Did he say but to? Did he mean to say but to see it?
It almost sounds like he's quoting Shakespeare or something, but then it goes awry. You know what I mean?
He says, but
I
to
think-
claim to want it for yourself, for your own motivation, is to admit you both know and need to be reminded of the stakes. I don't know what it means.
I think he's saying that you are being short-sighted and in caring about your own. It's like you're self-interested,
Short king-sided. I see short kings.
and he is one.
And he is a short king.
But it's like he's saying you're only thinking of yourself because you want health care and you're not thinking of the implications.
And so he sent you a puzzle for
I told
you
him
to
I'm trying not to
uncover.
die.
Yeah,
You're only thinking of
It's-
yourself.
it's stupid. I mean, this is why I don't have patience for this argument, which is like if it's not Bernie or maybe Warren, we're done.
Dude, I
Like
try
it's not like electoral politics. There's no hope. Like, scientifically, we're done. If Joe Biden is the next president, he is not capable and is not promising to get us off carbon in the way that we need to do to survive as a species.
We're not done. It's our children are done.
No, I mean, we're also done.
Yeah, I mean, within our lifetime, shit's going to get...
I mean, you might not personally be hit with a falling block of cinder, but it's going to really, affect your plans.
I think I could live out the rest of my life in the worst possible, like, climate change scenario where I could be, like, as my eyes are closing and I'm dying, like, the sun is sort of starting to crash into the planet, like the sky's turning red, and I'm like,
unintended effect.
So long, suckers. I think I can angle it to where I die right about, like, 65, and then,
Oh, that'd be a good time to don't go 70.
Yeah, for the sake of our Social Security system, you'll be saving us money.
It's
and then I tweeted
climate change
back
realities are at such like a strong counterpoint with social ethic, because for politics you want to be able to understand that other people have different opinions and then argue and then in the right forum concede things and then still love your parents and stuff. But I'll have like conversations with my family members who like other people, and I'll be like, that's fine, and then we'll leave, and I'll be like in my head like, oh, if Sanders isn't elected, I won't have children because they'll burn in the sea.
I know, man.
And I have both those thoughts just in my head at the same time. That's crazy.
Not to get too ahead of myself, but I was kind of thinking about the same thing because, like, my mom, like, I talked to my mom the other day.
You should be able to talk to your mom, but also
can, but like, I talked to her the other day, and like, I think she listens to the show sometimes. She might be hearing this. So here's what happened. Every 6 months, I run to my mom because I'm on tour. I go down. We have a good time talking about politics. I get her to go, maybe this Bernie guy. And then I talk to her again 6 months later on the phone because it's my birthday. And she's like, it turns out I don't like him.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the trick of this conversation is we all have to rely on this one curmudgeonly old man who's the only relic we have to a future that isn't just markets drowning us in cash while the world burns. But it's just him. I don't know why, because the other people were systematically eliminated. And so it's either him and then they shoot him with the heart attack gun and we all die, or what? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's the other option is just totally abandoning electoral politics altogether, which some people want to do and are doing. But my frustration is it seems like they're more interested in talking shit about people who are trying to get Bernie elected. Like, we need you to come up with a plan B. We're gonna
learn karate. You need to have you need to be better than the Navy SEALs, because apparently that's the other plan.
learn it by playing Mortal Kombat.
By playing Mortal Kombat.
Studying their moves.
It's just what the game is for. It's a simulation.
Well, Scorpion lives in like a climate change situation.
Right, because he's a demon from hell, you're saying?
Yeah, he's always surrounded by that fire. He's somebody you can model your moves after.
His face is that of a skeleton.
That'll be yours in the future.
That's true.
When you're dead.
It's me when I read some of these posts you guys are putting up.
Well, like,
dead.
Damn.
I was talking to my mom, and I'm just like, she's like, she called me. She goes, do you still like Bernie? And I was like, do you listen to the podcast, right? Like, do you think
you
this is
regular updates?
Do you think this is going to take
ever
off?
Since we got hired by Crooked Media, this is more of
fair.
This is more of a Mayor Pete show.
Now that we are on Crooked Media and on Moon Tower, Pod Damn America, by the way, which is announcing our live show at Moon Tower.
Live show at Moon Tower.
We'll be opening for Shane Gillis.
That's right.
Who is also on Moon Tower. Actually, though. But when I say
like
actually,
us.
yeah,
Like us. Yeah.
But I mean, she said that. She goes, do you still like him? And I was like, yeah, like duh.
Yeah.
What, And I'm like, okay, well, what about you? And she's like, I don't like him, And I'm like, well, what about him? She goes, I don't know, I just don't like him. And then I was like,
woman thing.
no, she was like, I just don't like him, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't say anything. I was just like, well, you live in Texas, and it doesn't matter,
That's what I'm saying. Is
But-
you want to be polite, but you also it is wrong to.
I think I just dodged it jokingly or whatever, and was just like, also, I'm not going to get into this argument on my birthday.
It was your birthday. I was there.
But then, like, the reason I say this is so annoying and so, like, dark is that later on that day, I watched this fucking clip that was going around of The View, and there's like the fucking View. It's like Megan McCain and Whoopi Goldberg and some other crazy asshole ladies.
How
and
old is Whoopi Goldberg now?
She's
60s.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
People
she had
used
her
to be famous younger than they are now.
Well, she had her big special is in the 80s, 85, I believe. Whoopi Goldberg. It's a really good special. She does like different characters and stuff.
Really?
I'm so disappointed
Does
in
she
her
do all the
because
characters of The View?
Well, here,
For doing Megan McCain?
she just has a vision of the future.
Megan
it's
McCain's a baby,
it's actually
but-
amazing. She is a baby in the in her special. She like does like a 10-year-old kid who has I think a mental disorder.
Once in a lifetime talent. Whoopi Goldberg,
I'm
everybody.
going to derail my self here. Did you ever see that movie where Rosie O'Donnell plays like a mentally challenged woman? The comedy used to be a lot different. Actually, sorry, that was a drama. It was like one of those things where it was like, wow, a feat of acting.
They're doing
Hold
a
on,
remake.
Hold on. The point I'm making is that we got to fucking watch this clip on The View. And it's going around because the internet is insane this week. And basically the conversation they had on The View is Whoopi Goldberg going, I just don't like him. And then Megan McCain going, yeah, I don't like him. And then they all just keep going in a circle and just going, I don't know what it is. I just don't like him. And then I'm like talking to my mom, like, are you watching the goddamn View? Is that what's happening here? These people are going to get us all fucking killed because this is like,
Well, I know why they don't like him.
well, they
Because they're TV hosts with millions of dollars.
got right.
Joy likes him though, right? Joy Behar?
I think they all
Named
kind
her
of.
dog after Bernie. I remember that.
Well, maybe she doesn't like her
And then
dog
she-
very much.
She killed the dog.
like the Jinx. That was the thing that guy would
Buttigieg
do.
came on the show and killed her dog.
Well, I'm disappointed.
Bernie's been on the damn show.
He has.
I wrote the damn show.
I wrote the damn show. Enough about the damn show.
I was the staff writer for The View for 30 years.
Well, Whoopi lived in East Germany when she was a performer in like her 20s and 30s.
99 whoop balloons.
And she's spoken about that as like she had a positive experience with, as she calls it, communism. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to do impression, but she talks about
I was
living.
also tempted for a second. I was like, I ain't gonna do it.
I think it's the millions. Yeah, getting that spot on The View, soulless job.
I mean, even watching The View is hard. Could you imagine being like the center of The View for more than a year?
No
What that
one
would do
could,
to your brain?
No one could stay sane.
Yeah.
Not in that room. You could
Well, they-
see.
That room.
That's
They
why
have-
Bernie had the heart attack. It aged him 10 years.
Yeah.
Just being in that damn room.
Well, it thrives on the sort of attention because there was Rosie, and she had her feud with Elizabeth Hasselbeck in the 2000s, and then they have like a rotating just controversial host, and the one right now is Meghan McCain, who apparently doesn't even speak to the other hosts right now.
I mean, I wouldn't speak to Meghan McCain if I was the other host. That makes a lot of sense to me.
That's how it works. That's how they get the ratings, but it also makes you insane because it thrives on conflict.
Did you used to be a regular View watcher? Anders?
I was a View viewer, yes. I did not have
viewer.
cable as a kid, and in the summers, my mom would go to work.
give you 1 hour of TV.
Yeah,
And you'd spend it with
I would
Whoopi.
watch. Yes, I would watch that, and I would watch Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, and I was there for the transition to Live with Regis and
This
Kelly.
explains a lot about your
Yeah.
personality.
No, but actually, you know what? You just tapped into something though. There is something about that like quality of daytime TV because like man, this is why I think it's more insidious of a thing than like we give it credit for. Because I have not had cable, various times in my life. Like before, you would just steal
Before
someone's
it's
Netflix
obsolete,
or whatever.
yeah.
Like when my early 20s, I remember living in apartments and we like couldn't afford cable or whatever. So like me and my friend Joe would sit for just fucking hours and get drunk in the middle of the afternoon and watch the same Judge shows
That sounds fun.
over and over. They're fucking terrible, but
Yeah.
like if it's all you got, you would get it. Like, oh, it's fucking Judge Mathis again, You'd have like ones that you liked more than the other ones. There'd be commercials that you liked. Like my favorite commercial was I don't know if this is like a happened all over the country or this type of commercial happened a lot. I think this is a thing. I think it's like a trope. There would it would be just a really intense black guy standing in a parking lot just yelling at you about how you need to go back to college.
Oh yeah,
You know what
I've
I'm
seen
saying?
those. Yeah,
Those are great. They
he's
would-
right about some things.
Yeah. He's
He's tough but fair.
so mad at you and just standing in an indescript parking lot, just like, listen, you're making excuses. You know? It was fucking great. But that shit was like entertaining, but in the way of like I felt like I was scraping the resin out of a bong that we had long since run out of weed. Like entertainment wise,
Yeah.
it was like perverted.
content
like,
bong?
Yeah.
The idea that we were watching this shit is
It's just the old
not
trope of
right.
good for our
scraping the
brains.
content
'Cause
out of the
it's-
bong.
Because what the show is giving you is cheap, uncomfortable conflict. That's what the judge shows are. It's awkward, and that's what The View is sort of like a slightly more classy version of.
That's
Yeah.
dramatically what sitcoms are. They're based on tension.
Yeah,
I'm
Speaking
building
of-
tension.
Little segue though here.
You need to go back to school. It's fucking Hannah Gadsby.
I'm Barack Obama. It's time for school.
You know who just endorsed Mike Bloomberg?
Who?
Barack Obama?
Judge Judy.
Judge.
And
Not
I
as
was
big,
so
not as
bummed
big.
to see this. Lorraine Bracco.
Don't piss in my large soda and tell me it's rain water. I don't know.
Oh boy.
That sounds like a case on Judge Judy. So he pissed in my soda and said it was rainwater. But yeah, Dr. Melfi also endorsed Bloomberg.
really Dr. Melfi?
Yeah, that was a bummer.
I think Bloomberg's kind of like a ominous shadow in the background of this election because his strategy of just carpet bombing America with his ads, I think, is going to work more than we're giving it credit for right now.
Yeah.
TV has a lot of control over people's lives.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, like, the daytime TV shit we're talking about, and just like the ubiquity of all this stuff. You want to say, like, it doesn't affect things, and then you talk to a relative who's just been, like, sitting in a break room at their fucking dead-end job for the last 10 years just consuming this stuff, and they're like, I think this person has a lot of good ideas. You're like,
Bernie
good Lord.
can't piss in my health insurance and tell me it's rainwater.
Yeah, no. It sucks, man. And it like and I don't know, maybe I'm just on like full like alert about this stuff right now because it is a little alarming. Everything seems to be going right back to 2016 because Bernie's winning, because he's like
Yeah.
probably gonna, I mean, knock on wood or whatever, he's leading in the polls in like these primaries that are coming up. So they are,
As of today, national poll, 27%.
yeah, they are like, they're trying to make everyone crazy is what I'm getting at, because they know that, like, you know, you can't beat him by fucking talking about his policy. So all the Bernie bro shit came back immediately. All of these crazy ass op-ed writers are
A lot of coded anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
All at once.
this is like a good one that went off today. There's just like fucking 2016 style, just fucking peaches of like tweets and like opinion pieces going off. This woman, Virginia Heffernan, at page 88. She's the one who wrote like that piece in the LA Times
God
about
is a
how
woman and
like
it's Hillary Clinton.
she wrote God is a woman, it's Hillary Clinton, and she's a glowing ball of light and all that shit. She also wrote this one after the debates where she was like, Elizabeth Warren fucking, judo fucking chopped Bernie in the face with his, don't call me a little firecracker, I'm not going to shake your
Right,
hand
with the
thing.
handshake.
That was what it was. Don't call me
His misogynist handshake.
Totally
Yeah.
something he'd say.
so that
I've been stopping my misogynist handshake since I read that article. I've been really thinking about them.
I've stopped calling people firecrackers.
Right.
I didn't know that was offensive. That was my term for
here's-
Joy Behar.
Here's the thing: is hands are a man's tool. What you want to do is lean in, give a little kiss. That shows you're equal.
yeah. It'd be funny if Bernie came up to her, just lips puckered.
I'm sorry.
Did you call me a liar?
You know
on
what?
television?
I am hoping does
No,
not.
I don't. No, I won't kiss you, Bernie. No, stop it.
You know what I am hoping does not resurface, and this is kind of a bad idea mentioning it, but there's an interview he did in 2016 in South Carolina
Don't.
where
on,
someone. Well, they're not going to.
Tank the Sanders campaign. Oh,
No. What is it? This sounds funny.
Well, the fact that people will use this, it will be, I think, work in our favor ultimately. But you can tell one of his advisors. This is in South Carolina. One of his advisors, you can tell, was like, "Hey, try to be warm. Try to be like Joe Biden. Be
Yeah.
more like a friendlier guy."
Oh,
And
man.
so
It's
he's in
funny
this
when they're out of
interview.
their element like that.
Yeah.
Famously unfriendly guy, Bernie Sanders.
And he's in this interview with a woman who's African American, and he keeps touching her, and it's like very weird. He's like, you can tell someone was like, Bill Clinton. He goes in a room, he makes contact with people, and he's like, oh, I guess I'll give it a try. And it's
I'm
just so
touching
awkward.
you.
He's like, it's just her
establish
hands. Like he just touches her hands. Nothing like too creepy. Nothing Biden would do.
Right.
But it's
I made you a bracelet.
someone is gonna dig that up.
I mean, he does touch people's eyes, but it's this old manish like slap on the shoulder kind of thing. It was like, look,
Yeah.
Anyway, so this writer Virginia Heffernan wrote today of that poll that came out that has Sanders in first place with 27% nationally over Biden for 24%, and then Warren at 14%. She quote tweeted that poll and wrote, "Quick flashback to college when they told us we could be almost 4/5 of a person if we worked harder. Millions of JDs and PhDs and MDs and raised children, and 780 trillion working hours later, and the patriarchs say, keep it to 3/5, ladies, and you're on watch." She compared Liz Warren being in third place to the 3/5 compromise.
Because she's third out of 5.
Just compare yourself to like a freed slave.
It almost makes you think like she meant to quote tweet something else.
I don't know.
Like that was just in her images folder.
All this shit is also just grammatically all over the place. None of these people can seem to be able to form a cogent sentence.
It took me like the third time
30
through
commas.
to understand she was talking about like women are slaves. She shouldn't say anything about slaves. I don't think. I think she should just leave slaves out of it.
I don't know. What are the JD? Like, she's talking about PhDs,
WMD?
MDs. Like, I guess she's saying that, like, even after accomplishing all these degrees and raising children, but the patriarchs still say keep it to 3/5. What does this mean?
I understand what it
patriarch
means.
polling.
Like she's going for women have accomplished so much and we still can't have a president. But instead she wrote is just women are literally the 3/5 compromise, a thing that I am affected by in 2020. Let's talk about it.
Well, the 3/5 compromise was that your vote was only worth 3/5 of a vote. Their vote is the same.
I almost feel
that's
like
what
I'm
she
not allowed to even talk about her not being allowed to talk about it. It's not good. It
Is
looks
she
bad.
saying that the pollster was like, oh, okay, it's a woman's opinion. That's 3/5 of a man's opinion.
Maybe it's a complicated math joke I'm not understanding. Where like 14%.
It's for Pi Day. This is a tweet for Pi Day.
Warren is at 14%. That is that 3/5 of 27%? Is it?
Okay,
No way.
So 27 divided by 5. That's what? 5.4? 5 point... Yeah, I think 5.4. And then, so 14 would be times 3. That's a little less than 3/5. So
It's kind of close.
It's kind...
But it still doesn't make sense.
Is it maybe just like a exponential thing? Like maybe we just need like a graphing calculator?
Yeah. No, yeah. We need one of those calculators you can play Mega Man on.
Like a
to figure this out.
TI-80? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you don't get anything done because they have everything on there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Then you can cheat.
Oh, we're going back to the good old days real quick.
I don't know. That was fucking crazy.
That was fucking crazy. Did she delete it?
I don't know.
It was still up last time I checked, which is something I
screenshotted it.
respect the shit out of. Because I saw, like, my timeline at one point today was only people taking pictures of and quote tweeting this one picture. And this one was like, good, I stand by it. I'm a slave. I'm a white slave.
Jenny Hef.
There's also...
I've been on a boat. It was lovely. And that part was different. And that's it. I'm leaving it up.
12 years a slave. What is this? My graduate program?
Yeah.
Whoa.
All right.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, even just mentioning her, talk about it.
These are jokes she would make.
These are the jokes she'd make.
She said it. She's Barack Obama. Okay, so...
I keep thinking of Sean Connery voiced Barack Obama. Where's the bomb?
Let me be clear. Let me be clear.
the name's Obama, Barack Obama.
I've established a no-fly zone over Syria.
There's also this crazy ass piece that Lauren Duca wrote which I have to just read all of it. It's short, and it's every line of it is fucking insane.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think Bernie's going to have to drop out and endorse Elizabeth Warren after this.
I think he's going to have to endorse Lauren Duca.
What is the title of it? I saw you mention this earlier.
All right, let's go on a journey here. It's an entire fucking thing. I apologize to I'm just going to do the Chapo thing because it's too good. It's like
Yeah.
entire.
They own
insane-
reading.
I know.
It's
I
not
know, yeah.
fair to us. What are we supposed to do? Not read?
I know, but it's. I feel like they're going to do this, although they didn't yet.
We're gonna do it before them.
Yeah, fuck you,
This is
Will
like-
Menaker. No,
This is
just
like
kidding.
when they would do like breaking news in the Cold War, but it's just owning Lauren Duca faster.
Okay, it's entitled "In Backing Liz Warren and Amy Klobuchar, the New York Times rejected toxic masculinity, hyphened, as we all should." Here's the byline. It's not about women or men, hyphen. It's about a feminine way of approaching politics that politicians of all stripes have shown, comma, including Andrew Yang.
And this is the part that makes me want to read it.
Yeah.
Because until then, like, I've seen like girl power articles, but the Andrew Yang comment is like, wait, you mean like a math pin is like a woman's blouse or something?
Andrew
What are you
Yang-
saying?
The same Andrew Yang who was just filmed throwing axes and jumping up and down.
Dude,
Yeah.
fucking.
And fucking spraying those whipped cream canisters into those guys'
I
mouths.
genuinely like him as a guy.
Dude, he rules. I would never vote for him in a million years, but I want to hang out with him.
I think he's fantastic. He's like if one of your boys got too cocky,
Yeah.
just start running for president.
he's so funny. He fucking that clip where he's spraying whipped cream into those guys' mouths. The funniest thing is just the staff are like worriedly
Yeah, like,
running
"No,
up, like,
Andrew.
no, you can't do
Your
this."
love of being the life of the party will doom us. Your feminine approach to politics will bury this campaign.
Maybe that's what she's saying because
Is the whipped cream thing?
It's sublimated in from
Right.
breastfeeding, like the whipped cream.
Let's read the article.
When
Let's
Andrew
read it.
Yang
I wanna see
breastfeeds,
this.
the whipped cream comes out of his tits. That's how he feeds his kids. Okay.
If that's not in it.
That's the first thing she says. No. Okay, so on Tuesday, the New York Times editorial board released an op-ed titled "Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren are Democrats' top choice for president." So that was also a pretty good point she made accidentally, which is that they released an op-ed saying these are Democrats' top choice. That like the voter Democrats, because you picked them, the New York
Right.
Times. Anyway. The unusual choice seemed more an endorsement for women in general than either one of them in particular. I've chosen to accept this as mainstream media's acknowledgement of the rise of the divine feminine. So it's weird because Lauren Duca is like,
She's spiritual.
she's a bad, like, lame sort of immediately previous era to this online, like, opinion, online white girl feminist type.
She's a powerful spirit lib.
She's like a Libby, what's her face? Who am I
Watson?
No, not her.
No, Libby. Scooter Libby.
Nah, fucking name's escaping me. There's a bunch of these crazy fucking people, right? We all remember just cringe reading all their shit. But my point about fucking about Lauren Duca here is that I think she's like reached her second evolution or something because it's gone.
This is extremely powerful.
It's beyond from yelling about Bernie Bros to like.
It's the ascendance of the divine feminine.
She's turned into like
Sentence 2.
Joseph Campbell or something. She's like talking about like
That
fucking
sounds like Werner Herzog or something. Like
the zeitgeist
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
She's a little Herzoggy.
as the spirit energy of the world winds down, so too does the rise of the divine feminine manifest.
Gender is, of course, a social construct. The divine feminine is beyond that binary, best understood as the energetic force of nurturing. Plenty of male-identifying individuals are in touch with this force, although women tend to be more likely to find their strength in the divine feminine.
That's essentialism.
In part because of the way society commodifies the stereotypical responsibilities of sitcom motherhood, such as cooking, always being the one to remember when to buy toilet paper, and giving birth. So much going on here.
Where is the yang?
Oh, we'll get there. America, as it stands, is not even pretending to be a free country. We're living in an oligarchy structured by the hierarchy of the white supremacist patriarchy, and this is where toxic masculinity has led us. We'll read that sentence again. We are living in an oligarchy structured by the hierarchy of the white, supremacist patriarchy.
This is
A white, supremacist patriarchy. It doesn't make. I think it's just a
this
typo.
is like a slam poet in 2011 after like 3 blunts.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's the archies, the hierarchy, the patriarchy, the oligarchy. There's so many archies in this sentence.
Yeah, instead of Archie's comics, my newspaper had Archie's comics. A newspaper called America.
Yo, can I read that orgies? All right. Into the.
With Younghead.
Can I read that?
Younghead, like Carl Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, Younghead.
Carl Younghead.
Yo, can I read that orgies? All right. Into the greedy depths of a ruthless individualism that only benefits those at the top. 10%. 10 per comma cent. That is not how you say that. 10 per cent. 3 separate words of United States citizens control 76% of the country's wealth. The 6 wealthiest people in the country own as much as bottom 50%. She's going into Bernie shit here, right?
Yeah.
And
Just
see,
everything bad in the world she's trying to...
this is so interesting because she's like, you'd think she would be one of the people that comes out. It's like, Bernie's fucking, setting me on fire with his mind. But she's like saying Bernie stuff. And
His
she's
numbers are correct, but it's part of the Archies.
Yeah, it's part of the Archies. And CEOs from the 350 biggest corporations make 271 times more than the typical worker. If you don't have to have the dystopian greatest hits memorized to assert that it is completely insane that there are billionaires ruling over kingdoms of yachts and beach houses while the public at large endures an eternal slap fight over who gets to eat the shit, spelled with 2 asterisks, in the sandbox. So, like, she veers off for a minute and she's like, I'm going to, like, take on this left populist rhetoric.
This is how now is different than 2016, though, right? Because I felt like 2016 was an argument about everything is fine versus the billionaires own everything and we are living in squalor. Whereas
Right.
now everybody's like, given we are living in squalor and the world is on fire. But through my spirit stones, the womb of God is about to open.
It's like the newly formed, like, second evolution Charmeleon fucking weird online op-ed person brain has gone from Bernie's wrong to actually I am Bernie.
Yeah.
and
I'm to
he's
the left
not.
of Bernie.
That's
Right.
a fucking
Yeah.
thing that comes up all the
I've
time.
had enough of Bernie Sanders. I'm ready for Hernie Sanders.
And then it's mixed with, like, new agey crystal shit. So it's half Marianne Williams, and then it's also, like, I think a lot of the way these people think, and, like, a lot of the reasons that, like, just weird rich people that, like, I was thinking about this when we were talking about Mayor Pete and Kamala being the children of, like, Marxist thinkers. Like, a lot of these dumb people think, like, I have to come up with something new by synthesizing literally every other ideology. So it's like, yeah, all right, how about Bernie? But also, if he was also Lena Dunham, you know?
Yeah. He's a bit pudgy and he's fine with it.
Hey, you know what I think this essay is? A bunch of malarkey.
Damn,
Yes.
got her ass.
My man's watching The View.
The most important way to see our deep need for the divine feminine is in the shape of our economic and justice systems. American greed is sustained by corruption and enforced by punishment. The United States has allocated about $989 billion on military spending this year. It costs between $31,000 and $68,000 to house an inmate, and yet there is supposedly a reasonable argument at the Democratic primary debates over whether considering health care as a human right might be too expensive. What's at stake is not cost, but prioritization of the military and industrial complexes of the prison industry over basics. She's like, she read a fucking book and she's like fucking going off. She read the new Jim Crow or some shit.
Powerful NYU professor.
Over basic things people need to thrive. The inescapable fact is that we live in a country that is more willing to pay to send young black and brown people to jail than college. That's true, but it's like a weird patchwork.
Where's the heel turn, though? Like, where's the good stuff?
It's coming. The shift to policies guided by unconditional love for the collective are also on offer from Bernie Sanders. and in Andrew Yang's insistence on public policy aimed at developing happiness. I have made it clear that
Is that one of his policies?
yeah.
The happiness development?
It's making it mandatory.
Yeah, like what?
Sit on my lap. I'm Andrew Yang.
I have made it clear that my heart beats for Elizabeth Warren, although I think both Warren and Sanders insist on equitable public power in a way that can further inspire the political awakening movement. The political awakening movement, whatever the fuck that is.
Have you been going to the meetings? The political awakening movement.
And then in parentheses it says, for any self-identified Bernie bros reading this, I would note that I would be excited to support either Warren or Sanders in the general election. P.S. Please don't harass me. So she's like...
Hey guys, leave Lauren Duca alone. Only read her whole article condescendingly out loud on the podcast. Don't actually add her or anything.
Yeah. But she's like, do this weird thing. She's like, don't yell at me. Like, I get Bernie, but I like Warren more for absolutely no reason.
If you distract me, the spell won't work.
I guess actually what she's saying here is like, she's like, I like Bernie, but I like Warren more because, and it's like she's worked backwards to get to like, how can I argue Warren is better than Bernie?
Right.
Because of the divine feminine energy. Because Bernie doesn't have the feminine energy.
He doesn't have any. It's really sad, actually.
That said, I think it makes a difference if the person at the helm of this transformation is a woman, because of the lessons learned by anyone who has a female perspective on our crisis of toxic masculinity. The same could be more extensively discussed in terms of race in this election if the Democratic Party weren't embarrassing themselves with not even a single black or brown candidate on the recent debate stage.
This is what always gets me with the Lauren Duca types. The argument that we need a woman president seems much more rooted in like our culture needs a term towards helping women and less in what a president does or any of the realities of the world of just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is like
symbolic, which is not. Yeah,
she's just be doing Donald Trump stuff. You can only do so many things. You can either drone strike or not. She said she's going to do those things. Like, what do you think she's going to do?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that was a bad point in 2016, but a lot of people have changed their minds since then, and good for them.
Like,
this
if
is a person
voted on like an aura for the country. I think that would be a great point.
Totally. This is what happens to your brain when you stick to that argument for long enough. Like, you either, like, some of these women, like, honestly, like fucking people I know have just gone full on, like, they're basically just conservative now, and they're just like, capitalism's good, fuck Bernie Sanders.
Right.
But this is like a weird pocket you land in if you're not that crazy, but you're like...
Because those are the Democrat Party diehards.
Yeah.
I have cousins who are like that. They're just like, Bernie's not a Democrat, and the Democrats aren't about socialism.
But, like, this is, like, weird...
But that's a more accurate analysis than whatever this is. This is very confusing.
This is all rainbows and shit, like candles and spirit prayers and shit.
It sounds like a lot of stuff from a Bernie Sanders speech that is just like strewn together by someone on acid.
It's very like tune in, drop out, Tim Leary, Or she's starting a cult.
Yeah.
Like she's like, come with me and we'll get on the Hale Bop comet.
Right, but it should have more about her in the article then.
True.
It's kind of sounds like the manifesto from the movie Hackers.
Right. Like, I don't want Lauren to drop out of the public conversation. Like, I just want her to, like, be more present.
Yeah.
I want her to run for president.
She should run for president, and that is what I'm saying.
I'm Lauren Duca, and I'm not running for president. I'm running for present. Here's a talk on mindfulness. Okay, I'm going to skip forward a little bit because there's a lot of like kind of boring shit here in the middle, but here's a freaking good sentence. As the daughter of a father... What the fuck?
Does it?
Sorry. That one broke me.
You got
Jake
do
just
good.
dies on mic. It's the last thing you ever say.
As the daughter of a father, I feel compelled to honor the divine masculine. I'm closely in touch with mine. The divine masculine is best understood as the energetic force that is absurd and pragmatic. The divine masculine protects you and gets shit done with 2 asterisks. Elizabeth Warren has tons of that energy. So I think she's like, no, Elizabeth Warren is like, she's both,
Post-gender.
man.
Right. She's daddy for women.
She's a demon painting that has like both genitals, you know?
Right, yeah.
Isn't there a point in there where she
Like a water bear.
she acknowledges that Margaret Thatcher was actually not this great transcendent thing for society?
Yeah, I skipped that part. There's the line. Representation is not everything, obviously. I don't know that I can thank Margaret Thatcher for anything other than Sir Elton John's production of Billy Elliot. And to be clear, many of the selected handful of female leaders rule in the style of toxically masculine. So, like...
You just, undermined your entire...
Well, I think what she's saying is it doesn't matter what your body is as long as your spirit energy is the correct gender. And I don't think there's anything that can be misunderstood there.
Man, I'm like, honestly, she's kind of getting
Why
me.
wouldn't she just say Billy Elliot? Why does she need to make it even longer by saying
Oh, by the way, shout
Elton
out Billy
John?
Elliot.
This is
Lion King, great soundtrack.
This article was published in the Necronomicon. I'm reading
Really?
it from a large scroll.
Huh.
But it's
I see
weird.
the scroll now. Oh, yeah, cool.
But yeah, I mean, the thing about Margaret Thatcher is like that's a good example of how representation is not everything. So it's like she's like ceding ground to arguments that have clearly been made against her earlier worse points, and is
Yeah.
like, I'll fucking say that as long as I can still somehow work it back around into a thing where Elizabeth Warren is our leader because she is like divinely feminine and energetically masculine on a cosmic level.
She alone has this power to defeat Diablo, the Lord of Lies.
And Belial,
Lord of Lies.
You know what I would not be
Elizabeth
surprised
Warren
at?
is the stranger.
I would not be surprised if we see...
Nephilim.
If on Twitter we see a video of Elizabeth Warren calling up Lauren Dukin, like, "Hi, is this Lauren? I loved your essay."
I wanted to send you an audio selfie, so that's what we're doing.
The problem with masculinity is when
I'm Barack Obama.
the problem with masculinity is when it occurs as as its shadow part. Toxic masculinity looks like an ongoing death rattle of the white supremacist patriarchy clinging to power. And of course, we see the most grotesque manifestations of this sickness in the form of that demonic sweet potato who keeps us on the verge of World War III.
Yeah, demonic sweet potato. More
Oh,
like.
yeah. Caught his ass because he can't handle his own insecurity, which would be embarrassing if our lives were at stake. So it's just more of like, Trump is happening because of men. I think a woman is our best bet at beating that. I think using feminine pronouns for the most powerful person in the world could help protect or help correct our overriding tendency towards the toxic masculine. So that's like an
These are
interesting...
spells. This is what I'm saying. Is it's beyond representation politics. It's far more powerful.
It absolutely is like Aleister Crowley magic with a K shit, because she's talking about like words as like sigils. Is like, well, if there's just more of them that are
Right.
feminine flying around,
Yes.
they'll,
Their
fucking-
glyphs are going to affect many of the nodes.
We can
yes.
put a triangle on our fucking head and shoot it forward at people and stuff. That is literally like
Dragon Ball Z is real.
You ever read that Crowley like fucking chaos magic shit? That is it. You just
Yeah.
think about words harder, and then you think really hard about trying to get a job interview while jacking off, and then
Right.
eat your own cum.
Right.
That's what she's going to get to eventually, I think.
Which somebody did by accident, and that's how he stumbled on it.
Yeah. Well, he got the job, and then he was like, "It must be real."
Whoa. I'll have what me's having.
I didn't make that up. That's actually Crowley shit. The
Real Crowley shit.
real. Read those Orchie comics. The rugged individualism brought to you by capitalism means we're often moved by self-interest of greed instead of investing in love for ourselves and therefore the collective. We need a push towards nurturing and caretaking to move our society out of a shared hell defined by precariousness. We need to prioritize public health and happiness to building abundance for the majority instead of sending our people to war, debt, and prison so that billionaires can continue to compensate for something. In my humble opinion, the divine feminine will continue to rise and ultimately defeat the white supremacist patriarchy no matter what, but it would certainly help the process along if our transmission was led by our first chance at the concept of a Madam President. So that's it.
And that's the end, everybody.
But she's like, in conclusion, she's like it's the divine feminine versus the white supremacist patriarchy, which I cannot think of a fucking funnier way for a white woman to like explain the universe and the dueling, battling things within it. Is like, you are one of those, man.
This does have
You're both of those.
poetry slam
Duality.
powers to it. You know, we need a society that values dogs. We need less Arkies and more Barkies.
The patriarchy. The barky-archy. Yeah.
Oh wow!
I don't know. That was fucking insane.
Thank you for reading that to me.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I could do it on my own.
It was a bedtime story.
I feel tired.
I don't know, man. She's crazy. She makes other people crazy. I just feel like there's.
And we're crazy for more of her writing.
One thing I think about when I think about her a lot is this fucking episode of Harmontown, Dan Harmon's old podcast that he just quit. When because he's a rich white guy and a Gen Xer, and he's constantly trying to placate his audience. You go, I don't hang out with Elon Musk that much. I like, I listen to you kids, and he's just screaming.
I play street ball.
He was one episode. He was just like, I like Lauren Duca. Leave me alone. And I remember listening to it and going, you don't realize we all hate Lauren Duca. Like you think that's plea.
He reached down from Illuminati to upper middle class to relate to us.
Oh man, I don't know. That was just fucking crazy. There's just so much more. PETA's been tweeting at me like about animal testing for some reason. Tom Steyer dunked on the president. It fucking rules. Everything's crazy.
What was the Tom Steyer thing with Bernie this week where he tried to hug Bernie and it didn't work out?
He's just been hanging out with Bernie and like tweeting about how much he likes him and like is just clearly like, because Tom Steyer is he a millionaire or a billionaire?
I think he's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire.
Well, it started when he was caught between them at the debate, after the debate, and then he's like, "Oh, this is how I get," because he's trying to get memed. He's trying to go viral, which is why he wears a flannel tie to every debate.
Right.
And he has flannel signs now, I think. And no one's really picked up on that. No one really cares. But he keeps trying to find his foot in the door, and it's just
trying
being
to get Kurt Cobain's
adjacent.
endorsement.
Yeah, he's trying. He's found his thing, which is being adjacent to Bernie Sanders physically.
They've gotten that close.
Yeah.
Like, something about
Why does he like him so much? Because
chemistry.
Because like Bernie doesn't want him to exist.
Yeah, well, that's why it's so awkward. Because Bernie,
I think you know what it is. He's trying to get Bernie to fuck his wife. He's one of those guys.
Well, he doesn't have a wife.
He doesn't. Or he's divorced.
That was the basis of the campaign, if you'll remember. He's going through a
Oh,
divorce.
that's right.
He's a very upset billionaire. And he's buying a run for president.
Right. This is his car, his like midlife.
He seems like a
car.
likable guy. I kind of see how he became a billionaire, just like
He's
being likable
funny.
and in charge of things.
My favorite thing about him during the debates was that he clearly planned this on purpose. Whenever he was his turn to talk, he would turn and look directly at the camera. So he was the only person.
He's the only one who does that.
And he
Breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, the rest of them would talk like they were on TV.
He
and there
kept
was
making the jack off motion.
he had weird like fucking sigil shit like scratched onto his arm. Did you see that?
No,
Are those like tic-tac-toe or something?
is that like when you
No, it
forget
was like
your
a-
set, so you write it on your hand?
But no, but there was no words. It was just a God of War rune. It was a thing that you need Atreus to read to open a door.
It's just a GPS voice on his arm.
But he would look directly into the camera in a way that, like, if you were too high, would freak you out because he'd be like, sort of like, whoa, no, they're not supposed to do that. Why is he talking directly to me?
Not us. We were drunk.
Oh yeah.
Not us, him.
Here's what happened. Somebody dunked on him for saying, just say hi like you want to, like during one of those pictures. And then Trump, fucking the goddamn president, quote tweeted it and said, Steyer is a major loser, just doesn't get it. This is his second time with Bernie. So he's like making fun of him for trying to do this. But then Tom comes around. Tom Steyer quote tweets the president and he goes, Donald, you're just jealous no one wants to say hi to you. Impeachment is forever. Bye. That has to hurt. So, like, savage. He's like defending, like, oh, yeah, I do want to say hi to Bernie.
You're in Tomtown.
Not you.
The gate to hell.
Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much my little internet wrap up.
That's been the week,
It's
everybody.
been some pretty dumb shit. But to kind of close out, I think we should talk about like what Pod Save America is, because like I took advantage of the fact that this guy tangled with me a little bit, to promote the podcast. So if you came and this is the first episode you're hearing from that,
Welcome.
this is our show.
You're looking for ways to more accurately dunk on Jake.
Yeah. I mean, we did pick up a few patrons like that day, so it could be
Promoting PodSave?
I just did this blew up SoundCloud thing to that because he has 720,000 followers.
Yeah.
So maybe I got somebody, I don't know. But but I did want to like take a moment to go, because I know we did an episode about them at one point, but I feel like I didn't research it that well.
And our name is based on their name.
There's a point of distinction I'm trying to make here, and I made it point to while I was in this thread and was arguing with the lamest version of the Skanks fans of all time, Pod Save America stands, and people were like, being mean to me in the most lame milquetoast way ever possible. I want to point out something that I think is important about them, which is that Dan Pfeiffer, his job before all this was he was on the board of GoFundMe, which is something that you should think about when you listen to these people's opinions about whether or not we should have universal health care, because GoFundMe's largest thing that it makes money off of is like medical bills that people outsource because they don't have health insurance.
And even if he's not still actively swayed by that, you have to consider the kind of person who was at the helm of that animal for several years.
Yeah, and these people all remain like, they have ties in their professional lives with all the different places they've worked. So it's like a reason to be skeptical about these sorts of things. And they also have the overall ideology of, these solutions are fine, these like technocratic solutions. And then, like I said, the fucking thing I was making fun of John Lovitz for with be whoever you're inspired by, like all of this is bad to me. All this is really bad ideology. So I don't know, as a way of getting like a closer look at like what is kind of lame about them, me and Anders read a couple of these pieces. We read a piece in The Dissent about in Dissent, sorry.
The Descent, the movie.
We read a piece in Dissent.
Who dis?
About just about the entire Obama administrations and the shortcomings of it and the neoliberalism and everything. Anders, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
Ready to preach.
Corey Robin wrote a piece back in the fall about like what is the legacy of Obama going to be, and he did it kind of through the lens of memoirs from people who worked in the administration. And what he kind of gets at is like there's no real like lasting legacy here, because like what is it? Representation? Well, Hillary Clinton lost, as did Kamala Harris. And like a lot of his signature policy achievements have been chipped away at or outright just been gotten rid of, like the Iran deal. And it makes us wonder like what was the point? What was the point of this for 8 years? And
I guess it's just to prove it doesn't work.
I guess, yeah.
In retrospect,
that's our right. That's our takeaway.
Forever.
Yeah, well, that's our takeaway from. I think the positive thing, and people. I think Robin has made this point, is that like Obama disillusioned a generation of young people,
right,
who are progressively minded, and due in large part to him, we I think a lot more critically about politicians. So you don't have credibility among millennials, and I think Gen Z if you run a hollow campaign as Obama did. Like I don't think he would. If he ran the same campaign now, I don't think someone like that would win.
Right, and his entire identity is the compromise candidate, because a lot of people, might feel disillusioned with politics in general, but there is a very vibrant and active slice of the voting population that just feels disillusioned with compromising with Republicans.
I actually like to refer to him as the 3/5 compromise candidate.
That's right.
Oh,
I don't know if that. I don't like. I feel like you threw that into what I was saying in a way where I wasn't saying
No,
that.
just cancel me for it. Don't cancel Alex. That was my joke.
Don't cancel me. I'm Joe Rogan. You can at me on Twitter at Joe Rogan. I'll fight you. I'm so strong.
Come on, folks.
Well, he
They're just jokes.
Another thing, and this goes right to Pfeiffer, is that a big through line with a lot of the stuff he finds is the white guys in the Obama administration.
I really like what
Benny
he said
Blancos.
because he talked, about framing this as like, well, I'm going to read a bunch of the memoirs of people that worked in this administration to try to get my head around what the culture of it was, what the ideology of it was, and it is like there's a part in this article where he's describing the various ways that these people attempt to humanize themselves and downplay their sort of ambition and Machiavellian nature and like privilege. And this is very funny. This is what my 5-year-old son refers to as a try-hard, or my 9-year-old or whatever.
Damn.
But he's right. I mean, he's talking about these people who like are desperate to make themselves seem human and normal. So like he says, one of these women like writes about having diarrhea in her memoir from the Obama administration, which is funny.
In a way, Obama is an e-girl.
You know, that your job is very serious and you fucking, people are getting killed by drones and shit. And so you're like, haha, but not me. I have diarrhea sometimes,
I'm taking a shit.
And then, somebody was like, here's a funny story about how I didn't have socks on in a limo one time. Wow.
I mean, triple tap that wedding. Remember that?
And
sometimes I remember that, and I get sad for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with Pfeiffer in particular, Robin writes, yet so many white men in the Obama administration start out with the same "how did little old me wind up here" shtick, that the trope quickly becomes an unacknowledged confession of privilege masquerading as an inexplicable rise to power. And he talks about how Pfeiffer is someone who was not like exactly... he was a careerist, but not really that self-motivated. He never worked in high school to get into Georgetown, and he says he bullshitted through his interviews, and he just like kind of wound up working for Obama by happenstance. Wasn't necessarily that inspired by this guy, but there's a lot of these, people who, we think of Obama as being this transformational figure, but like a lot of this...
We think of him as being from Transylvania, yes.
Yeah, think of him as
Transylvanian.
Warren Ellis's Dracula.
But yeah, it's a lot of sort of party apparatchiks who got hired, who would have been in the Clinton administration had she won in 2008. But another interesting part of it was the importance of pop culture. Because he dedicates a lot of time to talking about the Obamacare website and how it was supposedly saved by Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, man. One thing that I fucking kind of really hated about Obama was that he was a comedy head guy.
Yeah.
Because, and part of this is personal, which is that, I started comedy during a time when it was not cool, and then it became taken over. It was, during the rise of, nerds, when everything became, niche stuff that they liked is now it's the mainstream. Now all the movies are superheroes and stuff.
Galifianakis, best example, too, for that time period.
Yeah, I mean, he was, somebody who was a niche alt thing that you thought was funny because it was weird, and then he got really ruined. I mean, he wasn't very funny in the... Hangover movies and stuff, and then now he's palling around with the president. You're like, what the fuck? Everything just got inverted and turned upside down,
Yeah.
And Obama really seemed like he was getting one over on us by palling around with these just hip alt comedians and stuff. Something about it I could never put my finger on. It was really off-putting.
Carrot Top.
It's like the president is trying to convince you that he's punk, know?
Yeah,
Right.
it's a public relations initiative rather than a political initiative, rather than, hopefully how Medicare for all will come to pass, if we're so lucky, will be through struggle, will be through organizing, will be through working with labor unions and community
Going
organizations.
into insurance offices and lighting them on fire.
Yes, that sort of thing. But for the Obama administration, this is purely just get eyeballs on this guy who's a celebrity, and we'll explain it to you, and then let the pigs all go get their healthcare trough. Interestingly, speaking of pop culture, Samantha Power listened to Eminem before giving some speech to a conference about landmines.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Eminem single.
Oh, his new album.
Oh, I haven't heard it yet.
There's a whole new album. It's called Music to Be Murdered By.
Right.
Which is what she should have listened to.
Right away, this guy's he's got a message.
Dude, he surprise released his new album, which is funny because the last one he did the same thing. It was fucking horrible. I haven't heard his new one yet. Apparently, it's it got a 9.1 on, I can't remember which website, but
Pitchfork? Eminem.com.
One of one of them. I haven't heard it. I do not believe that 9.1. It can't be better than To Pimp a Butterfly or whatever.
I like that song he's on with Logic where he put all of the Eminem impression into the song.
It doesn't. Eminem's time is past. It doesn't make any sense. And the cover is really funny. It's a reference to an old a Hitchcock record that he made, Music to Be Murdered By.
Right.
But he's got he looks like Tom Green. He's got dark hair and a beard.
Well, it's also
it
it shows him as the Las Vegas shooter and stuff, and it's I'm not sure your brand is the best one to tackle this because you are always talking about killing people.
Yeah. Also, that thing he would do when he would do comedy, kind of little bits in his videos where he's I'm dressed up like Osama bin Laden or whatever.
Yeah.
That worked in a time when everything was a little bit more detached. I know bin Laden killed a bunch of people, but you could make a political cartoon out of him. It's kind of funny. The Las Vegas shooter is
just no one even knows why he did that.
That is a scary, sad story. Weird thing to dress up as.
I'm obsessed with the feature that he plays the Crystalia clip on because Crystalia did a funny video making fun of Eminem by just doing random Eminem voice into a camera a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then way, way, way later, Eminem puts out a song with Crystalia's verse on it just to show I am so rich and out of touch. This is all I've been able to think about for over a year, and I'm going to put it in a full song.
Did he really do that?
Every time I close my eyes, I see Crystalia. Anyway, I'm cool.
Oh, that's so funny.
Honestly, I think he got owned by Nick Cannon.
By Nick
In
Cannon?
our rebuttal vid, did you see that?
I did not.
I
I mean,
don't know.
I everything I've heard is the opposite of what you've said, but I believe you because you seem like you have your finger on the pulse of rap culture, Anderson.
Oh man, dude, I was asked Crystalia to be on this show one time. The moment passed, but it was during when the workers at Rockstar Games were unionizing.
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
this.
right.
And I was arguing with him about it online, and then I had an honest DM with him where I talked about it a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. He's just a lunatic."
Yeah.
But he was cool though.
He's like a showbiz kid. His dad was a huge TV guy.
He was. I don't even make fun of him because he was actually pretty nice about it, and he was.
Chris, we love your Eminem impression.
but I was talking to him about it, and I was explaining well, here's why this is good and this is bad and this part of it is bad, and he just went yeah, dude, fuck the corporations. I was like, you know what, man, hell yeah.
Yeah, oh hell yeah. I think we're all on the same page here.
Yeah.
Let's go make a video where we're the Las Vegas shooter.
Crystalia, come on the show. We'll talk about something else because that story is no longer relevant. And please retweet it and ask people to sign up for our Patreon.
Yeah.
Your bazillion
Take
followers.
Jake on the road.
Well,
Sure.
to sort of round out, I guess, what has been the issue with the Obama method, which I think our
when you
PodSave
Jerk
brethren.
yourself off with the invisible hand.
Well, yes, invisibility. Actually, very, very.
Hope
fortuitous.
I'm gonna come. And then I'll need to change my pants.
But invisibility was sort of a big part of the stimulus package because they wanted it to be, as Noam Scheiber described it, a nudgeocracy, this is from Alex Perrine writing in New Republic.
Different from an archy.
Just
want to add.
Nudgearchy. It's a belief inspired by behavioral economics that the best way for the government to create good outcomes for the people was not through heavy-handed market interventions, but via technocratic attempts to change the behavior of individuals and the incentives of market actors. So that's why the stimulus package, nobody knew that it had any impact on their lives whatsoever. That was intentional. They didn't want people to know that they were getting a tax cut. They just, I mean, he would say that, but you wouldn't get like a check in the way that Bush did.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to influence people's behavior in a much more subtle way.
Turns out, though, the other way around probably would have been a lot better because people would have liked him more, right?
Yes. Right. Yeah. And that's what, like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's curious. I'm curious about whether or not if Bernie is successful, if the Pod Save America dudes of the world are sort of acquiesced to his way of seeing the world, because now I'm like not sure that they will be. I think if he does manage to get elected, they'll say like, oh, okay, that election, that was fun, you had a good time, but let's get real. What you're talking about, the big structural change, we like that term. That's not what Washington is about. That's not going to happen in the year 2021. It's just physically impossible, and we have to resort to these nudges. Again, we have to go back to these like very minute fixes to major structural problems.
Right. As members of the media class, if Bernie wins, it's going to be round the horn witch hunting at all times. Like it was for Jeremy Corbyn for the last X number of years before he fucking tanked in the last election.
Yeah.
It's going to be class solidarity against him. And it'll be funny for us when we read their funny articles.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. That's one thing I'm looking forward to.
Well, it's going to be like it is with Trump, although it's rightly against Trump in most ways, except that Trump has Fox News, right? But Bernie will have podcasts.
Yeah.
That will be Fox News.
Yes.
But good.
We're with just as hot anchors.
We should have named this podcast Fox News But Good.
Fox News But Good.
Well,
called
evil Fox News.
All
right.
But I wonder though, like,
dimes,
if he gets in there, on day one and ends deportations, cancels student debt,
right in the first day.
In the first day, that's already way more than Obama did in 8 years, and.
It'd be funny if he dies immediately the second day.
Right.
Fine.
Once you're already in, he's already made the hirings, presumably, which is like the part we care about.
Yeah.
I'm actually worried about him on the way in being heart attack gunned.
Yeah, those few months are going to be...
Sure. I mean, I'm sure like
happen.
The intelligence community already made the endorsement for Liz Warren, so, they're not on Team Bernie.
Oh, yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
He's going to get killed
Those people are murderers, ha.
He's going to get killed by Pete Buttigieg. Slits his throat.
Like the last scene of The Departed.
Yeah. But I guess my point is, like, if he is able to affect people's lives in a tangible, direct way, starting quickly, then he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Like, the media is going to maybe... put gloves back on. I think...
And not to jack him off.
Like, people don't want him to win the nomination. I have no doubt that most superdelegates don't want him to win the nomination, but I'm not, like, obviously I want him to get more than 50% of the delegates before the convention, but if he doesn't and has to go to the second ballot, a lot of those superdelegates are going to be in pretty hot water if they decide to like do it to nominate someone else, even though Bernie has like the most pledged delegates.
Yeah, I mean they're allowed to do that, right?
Yeah, they could, but that would be a disaster, for the Democratic Party. And yeah, I think right now they're trying to underplay as much as they can what can actually be accomplished. So, like, Matt Iglesias was dragged kicking and screaming into endorsing Bernie Sanders, and basically his thesis was like, well, this vision he's talking about now, it's not going to look like that. It's going to be way less ambitious than, he's overly ambitious, of course. But they're selling short the fact that, like, the Senate is really only a couple seats away from Democrat control, and that's going into a year. Mitch McConnell up for re-election, deeply unpopular. Martha McSally in Arizona, deeply unpopular, up for re-election. Susan Collins in Maine, deeply unpopular. Cory Gardner. Like, it's doable to have a majority, like a 54-person majority, and a Sanders presidency, and that would mean you would have to actually like introduce Medicare for all. That's actually conceivable. I don't think we need to tether all our visions of 2021 to Mitch McConnell will be Senate Majority Leader. That might not happen. It might.
Right. It's a projecting defeat.
Yes.
Which is very Obama-ist of us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And we must use the divine masculine to move forward with strength.
Right.
And that's been another episode of Pod Damn America, everybody. Give it up for yourselves.
I think that what we need to do is to make a little pledge to our little teeny tiny hearts every morning that says that I will support the I'll do what who inspired me. I'll do what they did. I'll inspire people as though I were Pete Buttigieg or I were Beto. Rest in peace.
That's right.
And do what inspires others with the masculine energy of 1,000 ghosts.
Now,
And
Just floating and floating and floating up to the heavens.
I'm wondering
big
if
titty
Lauren.
Andrew Yang.
Just sucking on Andrew Yang's big whipped cream filled tits. His big feminine tits.
Now I'm wondering if Lauren
Bitch.
Duca is related to Joe Biden.
No, I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
You don't know. You know, Biden seems
man.
like he got
Period.
around back in the day.
We start
Period.
recording after midnight. I start sounding a little bit related to Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
Getting loopy.
Listen, gay.
Listen,
gay.
Jack.
Listen,
I'm a
fat.
guy.
Hey, check out that E1 episode.
Oh, right.
Can't do their joke.
I haven't heard it, so I
You gotta listen to it. It's good.
copied and pasted it from you. Well, listen to that. It sounds really funny. That's it.
Plugs.
Yep. Oh, this will come out tomorrow, right? Well, if you're listening to this and you're in fucking Columbus, Ohio, Columbus, yeah. I'll be on a live variety show with Street Fight and the DC Sentinels.
Kerpow.
And then the next day after that, on Saturday, I'll be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I haven't been advertising this because I forgot I added the second part of this to it. So if you happen to be in Harrisburg and you listen to this, surprise, I'll be there in fucking a day.
Bang
Also,
zoom.
I also have a show in fucking Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Valentine's Day, which sounds filthy, frankly. That's it. I have Why You Mad, my other podcast, and the Patreon here if you want to support us and get free bonus episodes. Well,
Yeah.
not free.
Yeah, that you pay for.
Free episodes that you pay for.
Right. Support us on Patreon. On Valentine's Day, I'm going to probably spend it with my wife. Just
Probably. I like that.
if you want to come find us, I don't know where I'm going to be yet. I haven't planned it out, but probably somewhere like really like a dinner or something. I don't know. If you have any ideas for Valentine's Day, send me those. I'm on Twitter at Patak Jokes. My DMs are open. And listen to my anime podcast, Ballin' Out Super, where we we discuss anime. And I got a show every Sunday at Cherry Tree Bar in Brooklyn. Bad news, it's a comedy show. Doors at 7, show at 7:30. I saw some of you last week. Nice. Okay, that's it.
At Anders Lee here on Twitter, Redacted Tonight on YouTube, and if you're in Burlington, Vermont, come out February 29th at 8 to the Revelry Theater. I'll be doing my show, Dummy.
We're on Spotify now. I just remembered to say that.
Right.
in
Shout out
case-
Spotify. Anders,
Well-
it's been lovely seeing you in person.
In case
Yeah.
you're listening to this and you're like, I wish I was listening to it on Spotify.
Right.
Okay. That makes no sense. I'll tweet
I wish
about
there
it.
were just tracks of Bruno Mars interspersed throughout the episode.
Sure.
If you are on Pod Save America and you're listening to this,
You're a bitch.
bitch. All right. It is finished.